All right, hey everybody, welcome back to the Gamble Smart channel. Mark here, and happy Thursday to you. Hope you're having a wonderful week. And today's tip or topic is all about something that I have heard over and over again. You've probably heard it, or maybe you've even said it, and that is, man, all of a sudden, nobody's winning. Nobody's hitting anything. No hand pays are going off. What's going on? All right, before we get into today's topic, if you do like this kind of stuff, we do gambling tips and tricks and education, all kinds of stuff every single day of the week, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Central. Give us a subscription, a thumbs up, and we hope to get you better educated because that's what we're all about here. So today's topic's it's going to be a hot one because people have said this and I've overheard it. And we've heard it in the comments, live stream, everything. Is why is it that all of a sudden everybody just starts losing? Nobody's getting bonus rounds. Nobody's hitting progressives. What in the world is going on? Why is that? So there's a couple of things here. The first thing is, and this might be a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's really true. How can you possibly know as an individual what is going on with everybody's situation on every slot machine inside of a casino? Casinos are big. You can't possibly know what kind of credits people have in the machine, if they're winning or not. There's just no way to know that, okay? So let's get that out of the way. But the second thing is, and this is really what's going on, and I think a lot of people get confused, is that, does it come in waves like that? Yes, it can, but not intentionally, okay? And that's where I think a lot of people get confused, is they think that the machines are being programmed intentionally not to give bonus rounds at certain times of the day, or not to give progresses until they reach a certain amount, or whatever the case is. They think that they're programmed to do that, and what is actually going on is randomness, okay? So I want you to think about something. Slot machines are random. They have a random number generator which produces a random number for each individual reel on the machine, which then in turn picks a symbol that you end up seeing on the machine. If it's a 3-reel machine, you see a cherry, you may see a blank, you may see a 7. If it's on a virtual game like with a touch screen, you might see 3 different symbols per reel, whatever the case is. Those are being decided by an RNG, which means you, the casino, the manufacturer, nobody knows what's going to come until that spin button is pressed, and then it's decided, okay? So here's the other thing. Humans have a very difficult time of understanding what randomness is, and that's why we come up with these things where we say, all of a sudden nobody's winning, or all of a sudden everybody's winning. What is that? Well, explain to me, why is that happening? It must be the casino that's doing this. And the answer is no, that is not what's going on. So I want you to do an example. Take a coin. I just have one of our poker chips here, but take one of these and just flip it 20 times. What are the odds of it hitting heads or tails? It's 50%, right? Okay. I want you to do this a couple of times. Okay. Flip it 20 times and then record how many heads you get and how many tails you get. If it truly was 50-50, wouldn't it always be 10 heads and 10 tails every time you did it 20 times? But I bet if you stop this video and you did that, that you didn't come up with that. You might have come up with 12 heads and 8 tails. In rare occasions, you might have done 20 heads in a row. It's possible. It's not probable, but it's possible. But that is randomness, okay? Think of slot machines in the same way, except it's more complicated than just heads or tails, guys. They have a lot of different symbols to pick from, a lot of different winning combinations, stuff like that. But essentially, at the basics, it's the same thing that's going on, okay? So try to visualize that. Now let's say that you did that same experiment that I just told you to do, but you do it every single night of the week, okay? Before you go to bed, flip the coin 20 times, record it down in the notebook, and then after a week, go and look at your results. And then take the average of all of those, and I bet it's getting closer to 50%. If you do it enough times, it will eventually get to 50%. It could take 1,000, could take 10,000, could take 1,000,000 flips before it gets really, really close to that 50%. Slot machines work the same way. If they're set at 90% payback, it's going to take about 10 million spins before it finally reaches that number, but it will, because the mathematical equation behind it will cause it to get there, okay? But how it's going to get there, there's going to be a lot of random events. There are going to be times where the machine feels hot or feels cold, but it's not because it's programmed to do that, okay? It's just because that's what happens in randomness sometimes. Think of the roulette wheel too. Sometimes you get 6 or 7 blacks in a row, sometimes 10 blacks in a row. It's still random every single time that ball is spun, but sometimes you get strings like that where it's just 7 in a row. But you got to remember that each spin is independent on a slot machine, which means whatever came previous does not determine what comes next. Okay, does that make sense? So whenever you hear things like, or maybe you witnessed it yourself, where nobody's winning, then suddenly everybody's winning, what is that? It's randomness. That's all it is. It's just going to happen sometimes where those cycles, and they're not intentional cycles, but they are cycles, appear. Okay, so I hope that help clears up just a little bit. I know this is a little bit kind of difficult to understand. I'm trying to break it down so you guys can kind of, make the connection there on why a slot machine is random and what it kind of feels like sometimes. All right. As always, we really do appreciate you guys, and make sure you gamble smart, gamble safe, and we will see you tomorrow for Friday's tip. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.